there's been an image, obviously, with sports betting. And if you can obviously have trusted, credible people with the right approach and delivery, then that's probably half the battle in this industry. Do you not think?
Absolutely. It's a lot of it. And I think that's where some of the big companies are, why they're trying to get involved. They're saying, look, we're legit. We're real. We got to figure out a way to get into the sports betting space. Personally, I'm not sure, they have to do it the way they're doing it. For us, it was a completely natural transition. I mean, we have this brand. We have the second most popular app in North America.
Right.
We got people like you, hopefully hitting that app when you made your bet 120, 140 times a month, seeing how you're doing. And it was just sort of, to us, it was like kind of like, when PASPA fell, that was really one of our big aha moments, to tell you the truth, because having this enormous base, having this brand that's trusted, having all these users are betting on sports, and we're a public company on the TSX, right? Probably the most financial, from a financial standpoint, earning short-term revenue standpoint, probably the simplest thing for us to do is just become a super affiliate. Just lease out our user base, just like we did in the old poker days or in the DFS days. And it's interesting because some of the same characters are involved, like DraftKings and FanDuel, who spend like crazy just to get market share. We took advantage of that in the TV days and early days in the digital world. So we could have just said, to hell with it. But then we sort of sat around and said, you know what? We spent all this money. We've got this great brand. We've got this great relationship with our customers, trusted relationship. We should do it ourselves. So that was the decision. It says, okay, let's be the operator. Let's be the sports bookie. Let's be the sports operator. So, in addition to having this concept about how to do it, we're actually doing it. So there are, who else is out there as a sports digital media company that's actually the sports betting operator? And there's nobody. So
that's a big chance. You walk away from your television properties, but my God, when you look at the grand scheme of things right now, you're ahead of the game. It's like, I look at it right now and where this industry is going. It's just like, aside from live events that are going on, it's just, everything's just so independent right now, less manufactured. And it's just like the whole social media landscape is just taken over from all different aspects in life. So I want to get into, obviously, you're well known, obviously, in the US and even more so in Canada.
Right.
Where do you see Canada in the landscape, I guess, in the next 6 to 12 months? And, when I look at Ontario, there's 14 million people. That would be classified as the 5th most populated state in the US. Like, you're looked at as the #1 app here in Canada. And if sports betting becomes legislated, it appears like a tremendous opportunity for you.
It for sure is. And, you understand that a lot more than most people I talk to about it, because they don't even think about the opportunity in Canada. Listen, when we're talking to people about our expansion in the States, we talk about being very excited about getting to the big states, New York, Florida, Texas, California. We're salivating at the bit, waiting for the right legislation and regulation so that we can go in, just like we did in the states that we're already in, or take advantages of the states that we have under our pen deal. And then when I start to talk to people about, there's this other little thing called Canada up here, and we have this province called Ontario, and you're absolutely right. I mean, by comparison, in terms of the population and in terms of what the potential revenue that you can generate out of that province, it is the equivalent of the 5th largest state, and nobody gets it in the States. You don't even care about it, which isn't that unusual in terms of how people in the States perceive what's going on in Canada. And you're also right in that, we do joke about the fact in the US, we sort of talk about ourselves as the most used, least known brand in the digital sports business. The only ones who know us are the people who use us and love it. In Canada, because of our history and because of everything else, nobody even close to us. I mean, the big guys up here, TSN, Sportsnet, their digital presence is really, Rogers bought our TV asset and let us keep the brand and let us keep the digial, the whole mobile asset, right? That was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I feel very fortunate that because, we sort of knew that that's where people were gravitating. That's where the audience was moving. So it will be a huge opportunity for the sport. Just in terms of building our business models, I won't go into a lot of detail about that, but we talk in the media space, you need millions of people to support it because it's advertiser supported, right? So
Yep.
I need lots of people hitting the app and lots of engagement, and that's how you sell advertising. In the sports betting space, it's not millions of people. It's only thousands or tens of thousands of people, right? So, when we build our models in the States, we look for, mid single digit penetration in
Okay.
each market that we go into, building to, let's say, low double digit penetrations in each state that we go into. And those are very lucrative businesses, by the way. I mean,
Well, one of the things that you mentioned to me about a month and a half ago was one of the three states, New Jersey.
right.
9 million people and forecasted about $5 billion. $5 billion, that's one state.
One state.
One state. So, and 9 million people. So do the math. Ontario has 14 and well-known and very loyal apps. So you can see the tremendous opportunity. So I want to talk about your recent uplisting, obviously, onto the TSX. You begin approval. So what does this say, I guess, to the rest of the market about the score?
Well, in terms of us being we're back on the TSX. I guess actually is where we started when we were the TV network, and then when we sold, we didn't qualify for all sorts of technical reasons, and then we just did a small raise, and that got us back up to the TSX. What it shows is that it's part of this whole growth scenario that we're projecting ourselves on, right? And it's from a business standpoint in the context of getting on in more states and getting in Ontario and Canada, and really becoming one of the lead players as in the sports betting business in terms of our operations, but in terms of the financial market as well. I mean, nobody knows who we are. We're this best kept secret in the financial markets as well. And in Canada, right, for years and years, it was oil and gas and mining, and then this little thing called marijuana showed up and everybody went nuts and people
welcome to my platform.
Right. And it's tough in Canada. It's tough to get people's attention, right? In terms of new businesses, small businesses, and especially businesses like ours, right? And in the media space, because there's big media companies, right? So, this is very exciting for us to be back on the TSX, but it's only the beginning. And, we know that over the course of the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, we're just like our business is growing in the States, so is our financial presence.
Yeah, I think from a capital markets perspective, like you look at DraftKings right now, it was a $10 stock back in March. It's over 50 now, market cap of over $18 billion. So this industry is growing rapidly.
Huge.
I still think in a lot of, in the grand scheme of things, there's still a lot of investors that it's still the very early stages. So my question to you right now is, why does it make sense to say potentially invest in a company like yours? And like, where do you see this industry evolving in the next 12 to 24 months?
So the industry right now is very hot, as you know, but I 100% agree with you. I think they're just scratching the surface. We're talking about 200, 300 billion dollars worth of, the numbers are staggering. We're in, if you look at some of the projections from some of the people in the States, is what it's going to look like if 35 or 40 states come on board. And I think they will now, because all of these states are trying to garner revenue because they're all going, I don't want to say they're going broke, but they spent so much money, as they should, trying to, save their economies, put food on people's plates, keep people working. They got to replenish that somehow as we come out of COVID. And I think there's a huge opportunity. And for a company like ours, who is positioned differently, who is building appropriately, isn't just out blowing their brains out trying to grab market share but trying to phase in at an appropriate time and level. I think there's huge upside.